Okay, so we only have a few things left to do for this bra to be complete. And the next step is to sew this strap elastic on this back curve over here. So before we do that, we actually want to look at our hook and eye that we'll be using. So sometimes between our cutting and our sewing, we're no longer, this was designed to actually all fit together. So as you can see, I have a good close to 10 millimeters or about 3/8 of an inch extra right here. So I actually need to trim that down. I'm just trimming it back to nothing. So now when we actually sew it, look, it should fit right. So did that on the one end. Let's look at that over here. Yep, same thing. So I want to trim off about, so always do this no matter what before you start sewing your strap, your back strapping on. So now what we can do here is we're going to sew this. I'm going to sew this right to the edge, just like that. Okay, so I've got my zigzag, and I'm going to get this started, just like I do with all of them, and then line this up to the edge. And I'm going to try not to stretch anything. I'm really just kind of keeping it around the curve. And then right at the top of where the strap's going to be, I'm going to do a little back stitch right there. Okay. And oh, that stitching on the back looks terrible. But you're not looking at that right now. And this is for my sister, so I'm not too concerned. Looks like the tension's a little bit off on the bobbin. Still stretches though. So now what I'm going to do is I actually want to make it so I can sew a little loop on the end, and since I know this length, I'm just going to cut a second one for the other side. And then I've got my fun bag of hardware. So I'm going to look for a couple pieces. Oops, actually this one I need a ring. Okay, so now I've got a ring. So I'm going to hook my ring through there and then fold it back in this direction. Now we can stitch and do a little straight stitch here, or we can run a zigzag on it. I'm going to do a little zigzag right across here, and I'm going to do a back stitch. And then if you have any extra, you just clip that off. Okay, since I cut that piece for the other end over here, I know that this is going to need to be about that long. So I'm going to zigzag. And of course my stitching on this side is a whole lot nicer. Put the loop on, and then I just want to make sure I do the same on this side. So it's got the same little overlap. Okay, now the rest, well, we have the hook and eye to do still on the back, but we have our strap. So for our strap, we need probably about 15 inches. You know, I'm going to give myself 18 inches. I don't know how tall my sister is in that point, so okay, right, so I do all these the same length now. Losing my mind. There we go. Okay, and I've got two slides, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed this slide. So I got the shiny side coming in the one piece and down the other side. So I'm going to stitch this down. And here we can actually switch back to a straight stitch. Good thing I can clean all this up. Get my other one. Okay. So once you have this strap, what actually we want to do is we want to feed through the loop. And am I doing this backwards? I am doing this backwards. Do this backwards every time. It's just like when you put the USB in the charger. It's always wrong. I think, is that right? Yes. Okay, so I'm basically making my loop over this so we can adjust it in the back. So I had it come through the back. So with the brush side up, through the back, and I'm going to go back through one side and then to the other side. This is just so we can make it adjustable. Okay, then we're going to attach it to the front over here. And I am going to, let's see, might make it actually a little bit my little top pieces there looked nice. I think I'm actually just going to sew it from behind. So I'm going to pin that and I'm going to stitch that down. But if my strap was a little bit wider, I might have taken it and then flipped it over. But for this one, because I did a nice little finish at the top there, I'm going to stitch this way. And then pivot it over here. For some reason, my machine is just not happy with what I'm doing today. Okay, that just secured it. You can see that it still has another little flap. So my second stitch is going to show. Or you can actually just kind of keep it at an angle. I might actually do like a little triangle. But this will be good for her. So yeah, I'll stitch it across. It's not very pretty at all what I just did. This would be a place where you would want to put a little bow. Especially if you're doing this for a friend or a family member. So you don't have to worry about being perfect. Okay, up to the peak. Come down this way. And actually I'm just going to do this like a little triangle, flipping it back in this direction and coming straight across. Okay, straps are all attached. The last thing we need to do back here is our hook and eye. And where did it go? Found the hooks. And yeah, I lost the one I had, so here's another one. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this up. And I'm going to open this and line this up in there. So you can kind of see what I just did. And I am doing this with a straight stitch. What you can do is you can sew with a straight stitch and then go back over it with a zigzag to clean it up to make it look a little bit prettier. But if you're just doing this for first time, or I always want to attach it with my straight stitch first. Okay, now on the other side, it will need to be finished over like this. So I'm going to cut that edge so we can overlap this just like we did on the other one. Now, but for this one, you got to be a little bit careful because you can't get really close because the metal piece is on there. So this one, I can offset the needle so I can actually get fairly close without hitting the metal bits. And there we go. We now have a finished bra for my sister. I will go and clip up all my threads, but hey, that's really cute. I wish I was that size. Might actually solve a lot of issues that I have. Thanks for watching. If you would like to have more content like this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment below. Thank you very much.